couple things to note as I'm doing this recording. This AR is not loaded. There's no magazine in the actual gun itself. So to perform this job, I did have to remove my grip here. So now let's get to the actual video. What's up, everyone? This is Andre from 404 Blackhawk Tactical. Today I'm going to be mounting my optic to my actual AR. I'm going to be using the UTG scope ring, high profile, 50 millimeter with an offset. Now, a couple things you're going to need when you're performing this job. You're going to need some actual bubble levels here. You're going to need yourself a vice grip to tighten down your actual AR so it doesn't move on you. Okay. So we're going to go through this step, and I'm going to take you through each process step by step. So one of the first steps I'm going to perform here, I'm going to actually mount my scope ring to my AR. Now, when you mount your scope ring to your AR, never have your scope ring resting on the end part of your rail. You don't want to cause any type of interference. Okay. So on the bottom of this scope ring, you have these three ridges that's going to rest on your Picatinny rail. So I'm going to put that on, and as you can see, that pretty much locks in. And then next what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw in the screws here and have it locked down on the actual rail itself. Once you have your scope ring mounted to your AR, you want to make sure that your scope ring is level, and you want to make sure that your vice grip is level. You want to make sure that your rail is level within your vice grip. Okay. So to show you that I level everything here, I'm going to throw on my bubble level. As you can see, that the actual rail itself is level to the vice grip, and then you also want to check to make sure that your actual scope ring is level as well. So I'm going to check both sides. And then the back of the actual gun itself. Okay, once you verify that everything is pretty much level, so the next thing you're going to do, you want to actually take the actual cap off the actual optic itself, because you're going to want to level on the body of the actual optic. So I'm going to place the actual optic itself on the scope ring, and then what I'm going to do next, I'm going to screw in a few screws on this the scope ring itself. So now I'm going to screw in a few screws on the actual the caps. I'm going to screw in like 2 corner screws. Now make sure you don't screw the screws in tightly. Just pretty much get them started, because you're going to have to make some adjustment to your optic. Now that I have the actual screws itself slightly tight, now I'm going to place the actual level itself on the actual top of the turret and try to make the adjustment of leveling the actual scope itself. So basically what I'm doing here, I'm just twisting the actual scope itself here. Okay, so that looks good there. So what I'm going to try to do is slightly tighten down the actual screws itself. So pretty much it look level, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the actual level off itself and place it back on it just to verify that it's actual level, which it is. And then we're going to check it one more time in the front here on the vice grip. That looks good. Zoom back in on the actual optic itself. So pretty much that looks level. So now I'm just going to fully tighten down the actual screws. And it calls for about 35 pounds of torque. I don't have an adjustable torque screwdriver, so I'm just going to try to pretty much do it as a feel. So I'm just going to verify one more time that it didn't move on me. And it actually still looks good. And the actual scope itself, if I try to, doesn't move. So that's now got a tight grip. So I'm going to add the rest of the screws in and then I'll tune back into you guys. Now that I have the actual all the screws tightened down on the optic, couple of things worth noting. When you actually finish tightening everything down, you still might have to make some adjustment because your actual bubble level may move because the screws itself it's actually leveling down the actual optic to the ring itself. So you still might have to make some adjustment as you doing this here. And then also just double check that once you have everything tightened down that it's level on the actual optic itself, and then just do a quick level, make sure it's level, still level on the front itself as well. So you can see there. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do now that I have this optic mounted, I'm going to try to sight this in. I'm going to use this kit that was given to me from a friend of mine. It's an actual bore scope. Pretty much how this actually works is that this actual is entered, and you enter this in your actual barrel itself. Sorry, my light went off. You enter this part in your barrel, and there's a laser light on this here, and pretty much you try to sight in your actual scope with this actual tool. Now this tool do come with different type of I guess what they call it, gauges here, adapter settings. So there's adapter settings for gauges from like 17 to 18, 235 to a 27. Goes all the way up to like 69 to 75, 78 cal. Okay, but that's pretty much, this is it. I got the actual scope actually mounted. Once I'm going to take it to the range and see how it holds zero, basically, and then I'll just report back to you guys. This is Andre from 404 Tactical. You guys take care and God bless.